Assalamu alaikum. My name is Faraz Zafar. I am a regional director at LCC. I'm responsible for LCC's operations in Southeast Asia. And I've been with LCC now for almost 6 years now, actually. Before that, I was working with PTCL for a year, and before that I was working in the United States for a number of years, and before that actually I started my career with Mobilink here in Pakistan. I have an engineering background basically. So when I get time besides work, which is very little, I try to spend most of the time outdoors, so I'm more of an outdoor person. So sporting activities like golf and tennis and swimming and fishing, and these are the things that I like generally. I also like to travel, and that is generally about it, besides the time that you have with kids and things like that. So that's it. Okay, telecom as a career actually came to me by chance, not by choice. When I did my engineering, you don't really plan your career at that stage. You're really looking for a job. So the first job that I got was in telecom. So it came actually naturally to me. But now that I realize it, I think it was a pretty good decision to be in telecoms from a very early stage in my career. My current job is, as I told you, I'm responsible for LCC's operations in Southeast Asia. I was basically looking after Pakistan, and this year they've, I have an expanded region to look after, Asia Pacific region, so more specifically South and East Asia. So one of the biggest challenge now, this stage, is to actually expand our business in the new region, which is where we worked before. But at the moment, we don't have a lot of operations in that region. So expanding the business in the new region is one of my current challenges. Of course, the other biggest challenge here in Pakistan is the economic and the political situation of the country, where operators are very watchful of how they invest, resulting in a very competitive market and not a very attractive profitability scenario. So ensuring profitability and continuity of the business is my responsibility. And the third thing is we have a significantly large team here in Pakistan. We are almost, I think, over 300 people across the country. So managing such a big team is also a challenge, because there are ups and downs all the time. But I do find it quite exciting and thrilling, which is why this is my 6th year in the company. So my early days in telecom, as I told you, were with Mobilink. I was based in Islamabad. I was in the operations and maintenance team. We had, I think Mobilink had at that point 25 sites in the entire North region. So it was not a whole lot of sites in the network. However, there were only 1 or 2 engineers. So we had to do everything from the RF side to the operations side to the transmission side, and I remember a lot of days where we actually counted the days we did not have to climb towers. So we used to climb towers every day. So it was quite challenging, interesting at that time, but also I think those early days at that point in time helped me to actually understand the entire operational structure of the organization, as well as the way the operations teams work, the way the riggers work, and the way the technicians work, and the engineers work. So the exposure was more at that time, I guess. And of course, very few people had mobile phones at that time, so having a mobile phone was also a charm in itself. Actually, there's a remote site on the motorway between Islamabad and Lahore. It's on a mountain top, and we went there one day, and it was very cold and windy conditions, but we had to work on the tower. So while we were going up the tower, the hailstorm actually came, and there was lightning and rain and high speed winds, and we were on top of a tower. So I think and the tower was almost swaying. It was probably a 200-foot tower on top of a mountain. So I think that was one of the most memorable experiences that I had. I don't know how I came down, and I remember going back home and praying for the entire day that I came back in one piece. So that was quite exciting. Well, there's a secret ingredient that I don't want to tell. No, I'm just kidding, actually. The secret behind, there's no secret actually. I think it's a combination of being at a particular place at the right time, being at the right place at the right time, and chance and opportunity that come to you. But of course, one thing that I do emphasize on, and I practice a little bit, is there's no shortcut to hard work, to success. So you have to work hard in any way. People get to different points in their careers and different heights, but everyone has worked for it. There's a chance aspect to it, there's an opportunity aspect to it, there's a timing aspect to it as well. But I think the one biggest aspect is hard work, and the second biggest aspect is taking the initiative. So initiative, no risk, no gain. You have to. So once you take the initiative, you get divine help as well. My biggest inspiration, I guess, would be Bill Gates, actually. And I also like quite a few entrepreneurs. I think I get inspired from people who think slightly out of the box, not the inline thinking. So I guess that's the way I think about inspiration. As I told you earlier briefly, that I worked in the United States and in South America and Brazil for a short while actually. In the United States, I was working with cellular operators like T-Mobile and Sprint Nextel. So in South America, actually, I was working with an operator called Telemar, with a vendor called NSN. So internationally, I've traveled and I've worked and I've done a lot of consulting, basically. So that has actually helped a lot in in understanding how the business and the world thinks, how things work around the world, and that's basically it. I guess the area where I see a lot of lack of interest is getting into the depth of things. I think that now you find very few engineers who are actually very, very good in what they do. So it feels like they're they use a phrase called jack of all trades and master of none. So this is what I feel now, that people are in such a hurry to move up that they want to grow in minutes and hours and not in days and months. So when you do that, of course, you compromise a lot, and especially on your technical skill set. And unfortunately, the early stages of your career, they actually define who you are. And you can, once you're a manager, you would never understand the right engineering if you haven't done engineering. So you wouldn't be an engineer because you wouldn't get a chance to be an engineer. And you don't understand the engineering aspect of it because you never worked properly and you never concentrated well. So you will be a kind of a lame duck manager, as I would put it. So I think that's an area, like getting into the depth of things and really knowing your stuff, is where I think there's a lot of lack. Well, the first thing that I would like to change in the telecom industry is I'd like to have new technologies in this market, specifically talking about Pakistan. So I would like to see LTE and 3G in this market. That's the first thing that I would like to change. So more opportunities for people and more opportunities for the clients and the customers. So that's one. The second thing I would like to see change in the telecom industry is focus on quality and not just on pricing. I understand that the market is the ARPUs of the operators is low and the economic condition is not good. So it's directly related to the economic condition of the country. So if the economic condition of the country is good, if the operators are not killing each other on rates, then of course there would be improvement in the overall quality of the work that is being done in this market, especially in the telecom sector. So this is the second thing that I'd like to change. The third thing that I would like to change in the telecom industry is basically having the ability to retain good people, in this country. Our country needs a lot of support, and when you see a lot of drain, you see all the bright people going away, you feel sad, because your country, our country needs a lot from us, and people who are who have the authority do actually something, and you see them leaving because of lack of opportunity or lack of exposure, is something that I'd like to change, hopefully, or see a change in. So I'd like to see more opportunities for the people, and I'd like to see people actually trying to contribute back to Pakistan and not just leaving it. So that's something that I'd like to see changed.